Yeah, I mean, obviously going into Rupp's a big game. That they're back to being the Kentucky everybody expects them to be, the top five in the country. So I think this is the sixth time we played a top five team. So we're 2-3. You know, it's hard to beat top five teams, especially on the road. We're gonna have to play really well. I think it's the most AP top five opponents anybody's played since Ohio State in 2012-13, from what Aaron told me. So our guys are pretty well battle tested. I don't think the environment, the game's going to be too big for them. We've been in big games, but we're going to have to play well. And we did a pretty good job with Sheboy. Charles did the first time. Guessing Sheboy's going to be ready to go with this game. We didn't do a great job in transition. Last time I thought they got too many transition opportunities, and they missed some of them. We can't rely on them missing, turning it over, missing layups or whatever this time. And obviously our shooting was really poor. We're going to have to make some shots to beat them at Rupp. We're not going to be able to go 3 for 30 from three and have any chance to win this game. So we're going to have to take care of the ball on offense, make some shots on defense. We're going to have to do a great job. We're going to have to keep them off the glass, keep them out of transition. And they got downhill in the paint a little bit too much too. So we we played all right defensively the first game. We just couldn't make a shot.
Thanks, Coach. Let's go ahead and get started with questions. Mike Rodak, go ahead, start us off.
Yeah, Nate, you've talked about players kind of coming together and playing for one another, and it seems like that was kind of the case in the second half on Wednesday night. Just how much as a coach do you need to wait for that to happen organically on your team, and just how long has this taken maybe compared to other seasons you've had?
I mean, the internal leadership on the team can make that happen a lot sooner. We need it. I think some guys are trying, realize maybe what we're missing. There's enough talent. Obviously we're going to have to make shots to beat teams. There's enough talent to beat anybody in the country. It's more that we're going to play for each other. We're going to play hard every day. If your leaders are playing hard every day and demanding it out of everybody else, it comes a lot sooner. But, the best teams are always player-led, player-coached teams, and I think we've got some guys trying to step up and lead. Even today in practice, Rojas been real vocal. Shaq's been real vocal. I think, Noah's getting more comfortable that way. So we've got some guys trying to step up and be leaders for this team. I think that's where this thing's really got to get to.
Nick Kelly.
Yeah, Charles had another strong performance against Mississippi State. I mean, how much is him playing with an edge going to be an X factor for how this team does kind of down the stretch?
I think it's huge. We need him to anchor our defense. Our defense has been our main issue this year. He can really anchor it, block shots, 6 blocks, if he's aggressive, kind of attacking those drives. This game he's got to be smart, because our guards got beat way too much last game. Ball got downhill. Every time he stepped up, it seemed like they were finding Damian Collins on a lob. But Charles rebounding, dunking the ball hard, blocking shots. It's going to be key for us down the stretch here. I think he's playing with some aggressiveness. He's playing with some toughness, some confidence. I like where Charles is at right now.
Go next to Charlie Potter.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just how much does Kentucky change, if at all, if Ty Washington can't play? I haven't seen the latest on him, but with him dealing with an injury, what does that maybe change for you guys?
I mean, it's not like they get that much worse in the starting lineup. Davian Mintz has been playing great for him. Ty's obviously good. He scored really well against us here last time and led him in scoring. But, so they're going to be missing a good player, but they're going to replace him with a really good player too. I think where it hurts them is in their depth. Mintz gave them some real scoring off the bench. They won't have that if Mintz has to go to the lineup. So, and you look at the last game, they played 9 guys, but, Lance Ware only played 4 minutes. So Lance has been playing more lately. Damian Collins played as many minutes against us as he had played against anybody pretty much. So, if you look at, Toppin, Ware, Collins, and Mintz were the only guys off the bench. Well, Toppin, Ware, and Collins are all 4s and 5s. So if they have to start Mintz, they're either going to have to go bigger, which is hard to do against us with how we play, it's harder to guard us when you're playing a 4-3 and a 2 5s together, or 2 4s in there. So their depth will take a little bit of a hit. They do have some other guys that didn't play against us that can maybe play if Ty can't go. But I think that's where they take their biggest hits, just in their perimeter depth.
Michael Bronner, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Sheway specifically. Obviously, he's a Player of the Year guy. He had one of his, I guess, least productive games of the season against you guys last time, but still had 10 and 15. What, if anything, can you guys do to kind of stop him?
Yeah, that's saying something when you say he's had one of his least productive games and he had 10 and 15. He had a double-double with 15 rebounds. So it kind of tells you the quality of player he is. He's going to be in the conversation, if not right at the front, for SEC Player of the Year as well as National Player of the Year, depending on how Kentucky probably finishes the year out here. But, Charles's length bothered him scoring in there. He still got rebounds. We still gave him some angles here and there. We've got to do a good job of keeping Charles out of foul trouble. Sheway was in some foul trouble too. He ended up with 4 fouls. So that would help if we could get him in foul trouble again. But I do think he's got problems scoring over like real length, because he's got to get an angle. He's big, strong, physical. If he gets an angle, he's going to go score. But if you don't give him those angles and kind of keep length in front of him, then the problem is, can you box him out? He's great at getting his own misses as well as other people's misses. But, I think Charles will be ready to play him again. We're going to have to do a good job. We're going to have to really focus in on not giving him angles to the rim.
All right, looks like this will be our final question from Katie Wyndham. Go ahead, Katie.
Kind of bouncing off that, another question about Charles. He was just saying that it took him a little bit of time to get used to the physicality of the game, and he's faced some of the best bigs in the country this year. How much do you think facing guys like Sheway and Timmy and Holmgren has kind of helped him develop as a freshman this year?
I think it's been real big. We showed our guys a graph that was put up on the internet. I can't remember even who put it up on. It was on Twitter. It just basically went like which players in college basketball have had to go against the best players all year. And I think 7 out of the top 8 players were Alabama players, just because we played all the best teams, and best teams have best players. And our guys have had to go against the better players, and Charles is in that group of 7. I think, him having to guard the quality of bigs that he's had to guard, gave him a great experience early as a freshman, which has made him grown up a lot quicker and sooner than maybe a typical freshman would. I think he's in a great place for the middle of February for a freshman. He's playing a lot more like he's a sophomore, and has been playing a lot of games because he's had to go so many reps against such quality players in our games this year. So I think that was big. I think it's been big for a lot of our guys. I mean, Shaq was up there having to go against some of the best players in the country a lot. I think it's made a lot of our guys better defenders.
All right, looks like we have one last follow-up from Mike Rodak. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask real quick about the Phil Knight field that came out this week. Just your thoughts on how that came together and being a part of that tournament next year.
Yeah, I mean, that thing's huge. I mean, that's Nike trying to put the best Nike schools in the country in, that tournament. So if you look at who we get to play up there, our side of the bracket, Michigan State, I spent 11 years in, Detroit, so I was up there a lot. I mean, Izzo's one of the best coaches in the country. They got one of the best programs. So, you find out right away early in the year if your teams are tough enough. You get the fortune to play Michigan State. UConn's, Hurley's done a great job, know him well. They're going to be one of the toughest, hardest playing teams in the country every year. Iowa State, I know TJ is one of my best friends in the business. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country this year. Carolina, got one of the best basketball traditions in the country. Villanova won national championships, one of the best basketball schools in the country. I mean, that's an unbelievable field, and we get the opportunity to go out there and play against that level of competition early in the year. And as you guys know, I like playing good teams, great competition early. Let's get our weaknesses exposed. Let's try to work on them in non-conference. So I think that gives us a now. Having said that, if we end up playing 3 of those schools in that tournament, we've already got Gonzaga coming back to Birmingham next year. We got to go to Houston, have Memphis coming to our place. We probably won't be a whole lot of other real high-level games that we add to the schedule based on that bracket right there.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Talking a little trash on the field? Yeah, we get it. Trashing the state with litter? That's terrible. Keep it clean. Keep Alabama beautiful.